Just a moment, let me just share my screen. Uh, Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes, it is visible,
Okay,
Sridhar.
cool. Awesome. All right. Hi everyone. Thanks a lot, for joining me today. And coming so early for the meetup. Like on a Saturday morning. I really appreciate you taking the time off. So, I know like many of you all might have been curious about, okay, what is this topic about and what is this abundance mindset and all those things. So, like we'll go through each of these, some three core principles which I have in mind, and there will be a bunch of stories, some small little activities and things like that. I'll try my best to make sure I don't bore you all. And, I would also request you all to, keep pitching in if I'm asking any like questions or anything, so that, it is much more lively and interactive. And, like if you have any questions in between, feel free to make a note of it. We can take all the Q&A towards the end. Otherwise, if you just want to drop it in the chat box, just do it. In case it's something that you didn't hear or something, just then you can unmute and ask me. But otherwise, like any other specific questions, we can definitely take it towards the end. We have some time planned for the Q&A. So let's get started. So, like, how do we even make money in this world, right? So we all need a skill to earn money. It could be designing, it could be developing, it could be finance, it could be operations. It doesn't matter. Even if you are a social media influencer, that is also a skill. So, there is no such thing as a free lunch in this world. We all need to have some skill to make money ethically. There are plenty of ways to make it unethically. We are not going to get into that. So now, despite having the skill, why is it that some people go on to have financial independence or financial freedom while the others don't? So this is a question for you all. I just wanted to know, like, what's the one thing that is stopping you from, having more money or having financial independence? Feel free to unmute and just, talk, please.
Maybe
Sorry.
not knowing the right direction.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking we might have a lot of ideas and then we
Mm,
might lot of opportunity growth, everything would be seeing. But right
mm,
now, no bank balance for backup or
mm.
something. What if it becomes loss or something? So
Yeah.
like you don't have a backup, so you won't get a just to start any business. So that is the
Yeah.
one thing I feel actually. So
Yeah,
yeah.
got it. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Anybody else? Now, what's the one thing which is, holding you back from having more money or that financial freedom?
Fear of risk.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes. All right. So I'm just gonna, okay, Manjunath, is there anything you wanted to share? Like your video came on?
No, no, sorry. Same
Okay.
thing. I
Okay.
just
Okay. All right, no worries. Okay, I'll just continue then. So like we saw a bunch of different reasons, right? Like certain things, like fear of failure, fear of risk is one thing, and then there are certain things like where I genuinely don't have like the financial backing right now to start something, or I don't have a buffer or a cushion to fall back on, if something doesn't go well. So there are going to be certain reasons which are within our scope of control, and there are going to be certain things which are not within our control. So today we are going to focus on the things which are within our control and see how to, maximize our chances of having financial success. So I know, like, you might have all, like, this is probably not the first time you're, like, listening or, joining a webinar about how to, get ahead in life, how to have more money. And sometimes you might have tried and it might not have worked as well. It's okay because there is a lot of information out there. We are living in an age of overwhelm and over, information. So, it's okay to just pause those fears for a little while, even if you have tried and it hasn't worked out, at least for the next 45 minutes or so. And then we will try to question each of those beliefs which we have cultivated for ourselves, and then see, is it really true or not? And then, like I said, there is no such thing as a free lunch in this world. We all need a skill to make money. And, I'm not going to be talking about, joining a pyramid scheme and, you get three people, they get three people, and you become rich. Or I'm not going to talk about, manifesting $1 million sitting at your own home without doing anything. Trust me, guys, I've tried it a lot. It doesn't work. So, and then the other thing, which I've noticed a lot, and this is something which even I used to do. I'm just going to put my head down and I'm just going to keep working. I'll get noticed at work, I'll get the promotion, I'll get the raise that I deserve and everything. And if you are one such person, I'm sorry to say that's never gonna happen. There is like we are there's a like we are living in a scarcity of attention in this time. There's so much of information out there. There is a cat video, there is a Instagram reel or a TikTok video, plus there is work and everything which is vying for our attention. So we need to create the right kind of noise for ourselves to stand out from what we do. Yes, so that's a little bit of context about of what we are going to do. And who is this masterclass for? I'm sure like we have like people who are just starting out in their careers, as well as experienced professionals. You could be entrepreneurs, could be coming from any different background. So this masterclass is for everyone. So there are the principles that we are going to talk about and look at are going to be agnostic of your domain or how much experience that you have. And I'll make sure that there are no jargons or woo stuff here. All right. So the next thing is, besides having a valuable skill, the only way for you to attract wealth and keep making money consistently is by cultivating an abundance mindset. We will look at what is an abundance mindset soon, and we'll also see how to do it quickly with some of the core principles of RTT. So RTT stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy. That's one of the modalities which I use for helping my clients. All right. So just a little bit of introduction about me for people who are joining new here. So I am a techie turned mental health professional. I started out. I'm an engineering graduate by education, and I started out as a developer a long time back. And like all engineering graduates, I was interested in anything other than engineering. I have dabbled in many things, writing, GMAT, enrolling for an MBA, dropping out, and bunch of other things. And I just didn't enjoy any of those things. But then I, came across this whole domain of, user experience design a couple of years back. And for me, what stuck out was, it was the intersection of technology as well as, human behavior. So I've always enjoyed being able to interact with people, and that gave me a lot of joy. And for me, this was seemed like the best fit, and that's how I got interested. I did a bunch of courses and things like that. And after like almost a year of planning, I quit my job. I ensured that like I had enough financial savings so that I could tide through the time. But then, like when I started applying for roles, I had to face a lot of rejections and a lot of setbacks. So, the biggest challenge for me is pedigree. I did not come from top tier college and like IIT, IIM or an NID. And, that was held against me. And plus, I also had so many years of experience in a completely different domain. And to start over, there was a lot of challenges, and I had to work on my own mindset and beliefs to, overcome those things. And, like finally, I got my first break in the UX domain, but it came at a cost. I took close to a 40% pay cut when I, started. It was a big blow to my ego as well as my, bank balance. But still, I was sure, this is what I wanted to do. So, like I, put in the hours, I started upskilling myself, and slowly and steadily, I had, like a good career growth. And then within UX again, there's a domain called user experience research, and it focuses more on the psychology of human behavior, and that's where I naturally gravitated towards. I'm sure by now you must be seeing like a pattern of, why the hell I am a mental health professional now. And, that's kind of how my journey has been, trying to experiment and figure out, okay, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. And I always used to joke, if I charged all my friends, for whom I was doing unofficial therapy, I could give down payment for a house in Bangalore. And so that's kind of how, how my journey has been, starting from tech and now, working in the mental health domain. So that's enough bragging about me. So now I'm going to start off in about the topic. So these are the three principles that we are going to talk about. And again, so it might look simple, but if you understand this much, you're going to be ahead of than 80% of the people who are out there. So we are going to look at each principle. What does it really mean? And then, like how to, we'll do some hands-on activities and things like that, so that you are all, like not dozing off on a Saturday morning, and we'll see like how to apply it in real life as well. All right. So now the first principle, how to dismantle your old beliefs about money and install an unshakable belief that you're worthy of having money. Like 70% of lottery winners go bankrupt within 3 to 5 years. And you know what the reason is? Because they never had a good relationship with money even before they won the lottery. And now having money feels so unfamiliar and unnatural to them. So unconsciously, they will do everything to self sabotage whatever wealth that they have. Their friendship is gone. The people look at them in a different way. So this is one thing, which we need to understand. So initially, when I talked about what is an abundance mindset, right? Abundance mindset is basically believing that, whatever you want, everything is available to you. Gandhiji said there is enough on this world to serve everyone's need, but not everyone's greed. It's kind of the same thing. We don't believe in a zero-sum game where, if I have more, somebody else need to have less. So we need to start shifting our perspective a little bit and see and question our own beliefs. Is this really true or not? All right. So now let's look at some of the common beliefs that we have about money. These are things which we have heard from our parents, from our relatives, from our friend circle while we were growing up. And let's see, are these beliefs even really true or not? You can't buy money with happiness. This kind of tops the list, right? And so, let's just say, hypothetical example, I'm out there in the world and, I see like, you can't buy money with happiness. And there's a genie standing right next to me. The genie, hears that. And then, with a
Sridhar,
snap of
did
the
you
finger,
mean you can buy
sorry?
happiness with money? I think you mentioned you can buy money with happiness.
Yeah, you can't buy happiness with money. No, this is what I was
That's,
meaning.
no, you yeah. Okay. Just to clarify. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, like this is a false belief which we have. So that's kind of what I was like getting. So, like let's say, a genie hears me saying, hey, money doesn't buy happiness. And, with a snap of the finger, the genie makes all of my money go away. Now I'm homeless. I don't have food to eat. And, it's also monsoon time in Bangalore. I would really love to have a roof over my head. So, at that point of time, I'm sure I would appreciate having some kind of money. Like it is again, so money is not the end goal. I'm not saying, you should only focus on money. Absolutely not. But money buys you things, which in turn gives you the psychological safety for yourself as well as for your family. Just start looking at money as, a tool. It's like a barter system. You give it and then you get back something in return. Then the second one is rich people are evil. We have seen so many movies, TV shows, everything which all epitomize this fact. All rich people are evil. And, you have a Robin Hood who steals from the rich and give to the poor. Now, is this really true? Just I was just reading up, the other day where, Mr. Shiv Nada, the founder of HCL Technologies, has donated about 1,161 crores. 1,161 crores as of 2022. That's like roughly 3 crores per day. I don't think he's evil at all. And you need money to even do good things in the world, right? We talk about philanthropy and charity. You need money to help, eradicate poverty, to eradicate malaria, to help people and things like that. So, of course, not all people are evil, or not all rich people are evil. Sorry. The next one is spiritual people should not chase money. So again, or you can substitute it as religious people should not chase money. So I have read a lot of spiritual books and I've been very interested in it, and I don't recollect ever seeing anything about money is bad or you shouldn't have money. It talks about earning money ethically, sharing the money that you make with others. Yes, we must all earn ethically and we must share what we have with those who do not have. But there is no stigma or criticizing the money. It's all something which we make up on our own. The next thing is you can make money, a lot of money, only if you do something unethical. So it's again similar to the previous point, right? So let's take an example. When I say the brand Tata, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Trust, isn't it? We have heard a lot of these things over and over again. How, if you buy a Tata product, it will be high quality. Even if it is a little bit more expensive, people would still want to buy a Tata product. Why? Because, there is an implicit trust with, Mr. Ratan Tata as well as the group itself. In fact, Mr. Ratan Tata has invested 65% of his net worth in charitable organizations. And, during the COVID time, they pledged 1,500 crores, 1,500 crores for helping people. And I don't think, he's doing something unethical. And I don't think he's evil as well. And the next thing is, money changes everything. You will lose your friends. You will lose your peace of mind. And the thing is like, money doesn't really change people. It just brings out their true colors. You could be, poor and still a jerk, or you could be rich and be a jerk. And if somebody's behavior changes, after you have money or you don't have money, then the right question is, were they really your true friends to begin with? So similarly, there are like bunch of other things, right? Like I won't go in depth into everything. So you'll no longer be humble if you have money. Again, Mr. Rajan Tara is an example of humility. I don't know what else to say other than that. And money doesn't grow on trees. It would be wonderful if it did. It's the month end. Do not ask me for money. And live within your means. Or don't dream too big. So these are all some of the common beliefs that which we have all like heard over and over. So now I just wanted to ask, out of these 10 beliefs, how many like have you heard while you were growing up? Just drop a comment maybe in the comment, please. I just wanted to hear, is it just my perception of the world or have others also heard it? Drop a comment like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many of these beliefs have you heard while you were growing up? Okay, everybody is like awfully silent. I'll start. I'll just put 10 because I've heard all of these things. Okay, thank you, Ashwin. Okay. Thanks, Aishwarya. Yeah. Lakshay. All right. Yeah. Please keep dropping the comments. I'll just now continue with the rest of the session. Yeah. All right. So now the other what so okay, now a time for a story. All right. So this is from my own personal life, this particular story. So I grew up in a small town called Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu. Now I come from a typical middle class family, while growing up, mom, dad, and I have an elder brother. So, like my dad has been a businessman for many years, ever since I was, even before I was born, like 35 years, he's been a businessman. And he had his own like a little business in Coimbatore, and it was doing well. And he was into textile machineries and spare parts and things like that. And like after a couple of years, like when I was probably around fourth or fifth, like he decided to start another company. Because there was a lot of more demand and he had a lot of like connections with clients and everything, so he thought he'll start another business. And like he started and we started the business in a nearby city called Tirupur, which is like about an hour's drive away. And because we didn't want to shift our entire family there, what we did is like we hired some of our family members to and relatives to take care of the business, to take care of the office. And my dad would keep checking in and things like that, but he did not have like a hands on every single day. And things were actually going good for about a year or so. And we had like we're doing a lot of profit and everything. But then like problems started creeping in, like after a year and a half. A lot of customer complaints were were coming in saying we are not getting the orders on time. And we started noticing a lot of money started missing from the books. And that is when, like we realized, okay, the people, our own relatives whom we had hired to take care of the company as well as to help us, were, stealing from the company. And, this was a big shock because these are your own family, your own blood, and you expect them to, like be faithful and loyal to you. But then all of this happened. And one fine day, this guy, he decides to lock up the office, take the key, and abscond. And now we didn't even have the spare key because that was also with him. And then, not only did he do that, he also lodged a complaint with the local panchayat saying, my dad was trying to harass him for money. And he tried to, like hire some goons to scare my dad off and everything. So my dad is a very like a soft-spoken person, and he's been always very straightforward and things like that. So this was like a huge shock for him. So, if we had gone, to the court and everything, it would have just dragged out. So, long story short, like we finally managed to get the keys from him, but we could never recover any money from him. So it was a very tough time for us. I remember, my dad was at the end of the day answerable to the clients because they came to do business with us because of him. And then, we sold our car so that my brother could go to college. My mom sold all her jewelry so that we could repay the clients. And I really didn't understand everything which was going on because I was fairly young at that time, but I just knew some things weren't okay, right? Because, my dad was, like so heartbroken and his health started deteriorating. He started taking all these medications. My mother was crying all the time. And all of these incidents, they left a big impression on me, especially about wealth and especially about relationship, right? So I just wanted to, share like, what are some of those beliefs which I created about wealth based on what happened in my life. Money breeds jealousy. Yeah, it did. You will lose all your friends and family if you have a lot of money. If you're successful, people will definitely deceive you. If you try to earn money, you will lose your health. Yep, my dad is still on medications. Having your own business is very risky. Yep, don't dream too far. If something is going okay, then just stick with it. So I just want you all to take a pause and just recollect whether any such incidents which happened in your childhood which has impacted your relationship with money, how you look at money, or how you talk about people who have money. So now sometimes things happen, we can't change it, but we can always change the meaning that we associate with things. So let's see how to reframe those thoughts, right? So these beliefs are nothing more than thoughts that we think repeatedly, and because we created these beliefs, we also have the choice and the power to change them. So rather than saying something like money is evil, how about saying money is a useful tool for living a good life? Money is essential for me to give a good home for my family. Rather than saying money makes you greedy, how about saying, having a lot of money enables me to help people, support people? You will lose your peace of mind with money. I don't think so. I can control money, and money does not control me. Just remember that money is just a tool, it's a utility, and it's not the be all and the end all. Money breeds jealousy among friends. Not really. Your true friends will love you no matter what, whether you have money or you don't have money. So now, like I wanted to take a minute where we are going to do a small activity. So I want you all to, like I'm going to put a link, and I want you all to take a minute to reframe some of the beliefs that, the limiting beliefs which we have about money. I'm going to put a link in the chat window. Let me just see it up. Yeah. Yes. Oops, sorry, not this. Okay. Yes. Please open this link on your, any device that you are in, and you will see like a join my this thing, join this quiz kind of a thing. Yes. And don't worry,
I
it's
don't
going to be
have,
all Anna. Hello?
sorry, I don't have a chat option.
Oh, is it you this thing, you could just go to the URL joinmyquiz.com and enter this code. All your answers are going to be anonymous. You don't have to log in, and I've set like anonymous names for all of you all so that you can write whatever you feel like. Yes, without fear of judgment. So please open the link which I just put in the chat window. Otherwise, you can go to this URL, joinmyquiz.com, and enter this game code 113765. Okay, I'll just wait for another 10 seconds and I'm gonna start it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, thanks for the hands up, Nikhil. All right, so I'm just gonna start it now. All right. Oops. All right. So the first thing is, like if you had to reframe this limiting belief and change it into a positive one, how would you write it? You have like about a minute or so. Again, there's no right or wrong answers. There's nothing as a perfect answer. Just take your shot. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. If you try to earn more money, you can afford better health. Yeah. Money will enable me to tackle daily life hassles, and financial freedom will let me have a quality life. That's excellent. Yeah. See, these are like, some of you all might have tried to write it, but I'm sorry, I just set like a short timer so that we don't run out of time. But, like, there will these really good reframes which people have put in, right? Like, it's all again up to us as to how we start thinking about it. So, again, another quick thing, like, you're going to get another belief, and I want you to reframe it into something positive. If you're successful, people will definitely deceive you. How will you change this? Yeah, people will deceive you irrespective of the money that you have. Yeah, if somebody is out to get you, they will. The right circle of people stays with you in good and bad times. Excellent. Yep. Yeah, it just reveals them. Yes, money just brings out the true colors in people. Journey of success starts with truthful and trustworthy people. Yep, exactly. And then the other one was, if I'm successful, I can help others, help other people to get success. Exactly. Like you can't give from an empty cup. Your cup needs to be full before you can help somebody else. Good. All right. So now you could all come back to Zoom. So we'll come back to the quizzes thing again. So I hope, that kind of gave you some perspective of, how to identify the way we talk about money and then going about changing it in a way that works better for us. Okay. So now another short story. So this is, I was working with a client and, she had come to me with money blocks. So she was working as a freelancer and she was already, making good money, but then she had, trouble raising her rates and she wanted to start her own company, but she just couldn't, even though she had the skill set and she has been working for a couple of years. So, when she came to the session, in RTT, so I, use hypnotherapy as the basis and I try to regress my clients back to the events or situations which could have led to these beliefs, right? So, in her case, we went back and we looked at some of the scenes from her childhood as to why this could be happening. And it was a very it became very clear once she saw it. In her childhood, she had, faced a lot, there was a lot of change going on in her life. Her parents had separated, she had moved countries and things like that. So her, young, child mind had created this belief: change is scary, change is bad. So then, and if you're trying to do anything like starting a business or, like increasing your rates or asking for more money, that is very scary, right? So the mind created a belief when she was young and it stuck with her, even though she was grown up and even though she could logically understand those things. But then, like once she made sense of it, like then we reframed it how she was no longer that 6-year-old or 10-year-old or 12-year-old, and now as a grown up how to reframe it. And then like I worked with her for like 3 to 4 weeks, and then she could start noticing the changes in herself, and she was telling me like, huh, okay, now yeah, I understand now. I'm starting to have a better relationship with money. And of course, it's not like she became a millionaire overnight or in 1 month, but she started moving ahead in that journey. So that's the most important thing, right? Understand where you're lacking and then you slowly start moving towards your goal. All right. So I hope, the first principle was clear. So the first principle is, identifying your old limiting beliefs about wealth and reframing it. So that's the first principle. So now we are going to go and look at the second principle. All right. So now, how to set clear money goals and go after it with a laser focus. You see, the thinking mind, the conscious mind is a very logical mind, and the subconscious mind is a very feeling mind. You need to tell it very clearly, very explicitly what is it that you want. All the beliefs are nothing more than something which your subconscious mind has created. So you need to be very explicit with it. If you keep saying, like, I want to find money, I want to find some money, and you find 10 rupee note, from the old jeans, and is that enough? Well, technically, you did find some money, but that's not enough, right? Or you go to a restaurant and you say to the person, like, get me some coffee. Do you mean a cappuccino? Do you want a filter coffee? Do you want an espresso? You need to be very clear about it. So now we'll see how to set clear money goals so that you are sending a clear instruction to yourself as well as your subconscious mind. All right. This is an acronym I'm sure some of you all at least must have definitely heard, like SMART goals. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. So let's look at what these things are, and it is totally okay if you have not heard about it. I'm gonna talk about it, in detail now. And then we'll see like, how to do it and why to do it. That's the most important, right? You shouldn't take something at face value just because I'm saying it. You should question it and see is it really true or not, and only then start implementing it in your own life. All right. So let's look at some examples, right? Let's say I keep saying I want to be healthy. That's like saying I want to be a Pokemon or I want to be Pikachu. What does healthy even mean to you? Does it mean you're a few, kgs extra and you want to reduce weight? Or you have high BP and you want to, like lower it, or you want to, have a better thyroid. What does that even mean to you? You need to be very clear about that. It needs to be any goal needs to be measurable. I want to lose some weight. What does some mean? 5 grams, 50 grams, 500 grams? If cut out all salt from your diet, right? Just due to water retention, you will lose a bit of weight. Is that enough? No, of course not. It's not okay for a long-term goal. If you have a photo shoot and you want six-pack abs, then yes, you might have to do some of those extreme measures, but not for regular, life. The next thing is, a goal must be achievable. I want to have six packs in 6 weeks. Now, let's say somebody's only exercise routine is walking to the door to collect the Swiggy order, then this goal is like, like unachievable, right? We need to set ourselves up for success and not for failure. There's a difference between having a stretch goal where you go a little bit outside of your comfort zone, and there is another thing where you have a totally unreasonable goal. And then, you try something unreasonable and then you say, oh no, I tried, it didn't work. No, we need to set ourselves up for success. The goal needs to be relevant. Like what are your value systems, right? So by value system, it could be something, which is personal to you. For instance, you want a job where you want to be back by 6 p.m. to spend time with your kids. Or you want a job where you want a flexibility of leaving at 1 o'clock to pick your kids from school. Or you're a vegetarian, that's a value system. You're vegan, that's a value system. We need to set goals which are in alignment with our value systems. You can't pick up random things like whatever the latest fad thing which is going on and adopt it as your own. Next is time based. I will weigh 70 kgs. When? Tomorrow, day after, 10 years from now. So again, you need to be very clear and explicit when you're talking with your subconscious mind. So we saw some goals, in general about health. So how do you set smart goals when it comes to wealth, right? Don't say something like, I want to have more money. Say something like, I'm going to earn 2 lakhs per month regularly. The word regularly is again important. You could just have a bumper month and after that you go back to zero. Nobody wants to do that. So again, be more specific, be more clear about what you want. I want to get a raise in this year appraisal. Okay, do you want a single digit raise, like 2%? Is that okay? No, of course not. I'm going to ask for a 30% bonus this year. Whether or not it happens is another thing, but at least be clear about what are your expectations are. I want to have enough money to retire. Okay, what does that mean? Like 1 crore, 10 crore, something like I'll have 10 crore corpus and I'll accumulate it in 10 years. I'll have a plan to keep growing it and things like that. See, the thing is, there are two reasons why, like we put specific things when it comes, into our goals. One is you become clear to yourself and you can see the finish line for yourself, whether or not you achieve the goal. And the other is exciting the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind needs to feel excited, and that would happen only when you put some specifics. If it's abstract and fuzzy, it would never like understand that. So like before we go there, like okay, so let's just do this thing where please go back to the quizzes thing, and I have again two things for you where I want you to set like a smart goal when it comes to wealth, right? We have two things. One is a short-term goal and the other is a long-term goal. A short-term goal is something, in 6 months, what do you want? And long-term is something which you want in 5 years. So I'm going to start this and the timer is going to start now. Please, take a shot at, defining a smart goal for yourself. Another 15 seconds. I will increase my savings rate to 15% of my monthly income for the next quarter. Yes, this is very clear, specific. This is a good one. Oof. I know like some of you all might have needed a little bit more time to process the question and come up. It's okay. Like, if as long as you've started thinking about it, it's good. I have created like a handout. I'll share it with you. You can go through this and do it again on your own time. So again, the purpose of this short activities in between is to for you to practice something. So now we'll go to another thing where you're going to just write another smart goal with regards to like the long-term thing. In case you just want to repeat whatever you had typed for the previous thing, but you just couldn't do it within the time, you can just do that as well. Yeah, I'll stick to my goal. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm gonna disable the timer so that you all have a little few more seconds for this. Yeah. So again, I want to be financially free. See, that is not really very clear, right? What does financially free mean? Do you have loans and you want to pay that? Or do you want to retire in 5 years? So those are things where you need those specifics. You need to have a very clear goal for yourself as well. Like, this is what I mean by financial free. Because that definition will change from person to person. Okay, all right. All right, I want to publish my products within 1 year. Yeah, see, this is again, you put like a timeline, which is good, right? But then, like again, you can get a little bit more specific, how many products are you going to publish? Which and for which audience? How much are you going to price your products and how much do you intend to make from those publishing, right? So those little things, when you start, putting it in, it becomes much more better. Yes, align my future plans with my mentor, work in sync to be financially free. Yes, this is good, right? So you have a timeline and you're also, making a thing where, you're going to get a financial advisor or a financial planner to create the plan. This is good. You might not have the exact plan right now, but at least you have like an idea of like, whom to work with to create that. Yes. So again, next one is, create a steady stream of passive income and scale it to retire, comfortably. So for this one, again, you can do a little bit more thing, right? What does a steady stream of passive income mean? How many, thousands, hundreds, or rupees that you want to create? And, and when you say scale it up to retirement, how far is retirement along for you? Is it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? So when you, again, I know like it's not possible to do it right away in 2 minutes, but just, putting it out there for you to food for thought to think about it and, do it. So again, I want to publish my mobile application to help people to focus on their goals with custom roadmaps within 1 year. Yeah, so this is good. Like in 1 year, you have a goal like this is what. So again, if you are talking about wealth, you could say like I'm going to price it at like $199 or something like that. So I hope like you've all got some idea of how to go about this. So I'm going to end the question right now. Yes. All right. So now, so this is a framework for all of us, to start thinking, especially when you're thinking about money and things like that. So now, like you might still, some of you all might still be wondering, okay, all of this sounds okay, but how does, having a specific clear goal help in, like working with my subconscious mind, right? So like we'll do a small activity and so that you will have some proof for yourself. I would actually request those who can to put on your camera so that I can see what you're doing. Please keep your cameras on, whoever can. I'm still just going to start ahead with the activity and just follow along with me. So put your hand in front of you like this, like pointing a finger, and just move the hand as much as you can to the right and just make a mental note how far along it has gone, like how much ever it has gone, right? Just make a mental note, just move your hand and make a mental note. And you just turn around and see like how much it has gone. Yeah, you can just turn around and see how much it's gone. And yes, yes, once you've made a note, then come back. All right. So now I just want you to close your eyes for 30 seconds and I'm just going to guide you through a visualization and let's see what is the impact of that. Please close your eyes. Yeah, just for 30 seconds. Yeah. The muscles in your hands are becoming loose and relaxed. The muscles in your shoulders are becoming flexible like a rubber band. You can feel the muscles in your arms and in your shoulders becoming long and becoming flexible. You can now see in your mind's eye that your hand is moving a little bit further the next time you move it. You can see it very clearly that your hand is moving just a little bit further than the first time you tried it. You can see and feel very clearly, just like it is happening right now, right this second, that your hand is moving a little bit further than the first time you tried it. Now hold on to that image in your mind and let it become real for you. All right, now please open your eyes and move your hand and see has it moved, how far it has moved. Please move your hand and see has it moved the same distance or is it more? Is it same? Is it more? Thumbs up, thumbs down, some comment, please. You could either unmute or you could just drop. Okay, Nikhil, so I'm assuming the thumbs up means it's moved a little bit further.
Yeah,
How
I
about,
tried to push it myself.
okay, awesome. How how about others, please? Yes. Okay. Okay. Ashwin, yes, it moved a little bit more. Okay. Anybody else? All right. So now let's, just repeat the same activity. And I'm going to give you a slightly different, instructions. And let's see if there is a difference and, do it. Okay, Jagdish, it's okay if you got disconnected. We are just going to repeat the activity and I'm just going to do it in a slightly different way. So again, just for 30 seconds, please close your eyes. Again, yeah, please close your eyes. And this time, your hands and your shoulders are becoming loose and relaxed. You can close your eyes and you could just listen to the thing and just imagine and do a visualization. Just follow along. The muscles in your hands and your shoulders are becoming extremely relaxed and flexible. Your arms are becoming flexible like that of an acrobat. Your arms are becoming flexible like a gymnast. Your arms and your shoulders are listening to every instruction you give them, and they are obeying your instructions perfectly. You are now commanding your hand to move a one-third distance more than what it did the first time. You are compelling and instructing your hand to move a whole one-third of a distance more than the first time you did it, because your body has to obey your mind and you are in control of your mind. You can see this happening in your mind's eye very clearly, very explicitly, that your hand has moved a whole one-third of a distance. You're commanding, compelling, and directing your hand to move a whole one-third of a distance than the first time you did it. Just hold that image in your mind and see what's happening. All right, now please open your eyes and try moving your hands. And let me know, was there a difference? Was there a difference compared to the second one?
Little more push.
Yeah, yeah. How about others? Was there a difference? Yeah, Sandra, so I'm assuming it moved a little bit. Okay, Jagdish, you're right, cool. Ashwin, yes, Ashwin, you tried the last time as well as this time. Yeah, see, the trick is, if you notice, it all depends on how we talk with our own brains, right? So in the first time when you did it, I just said a very abstract language. It's moving a little bit more. It's becoming a little bit more relaxed. And because of that, for some of you, it might have moved a little bit. But the second time, I gave very clear, specific instructions for your brain. Move it a one-third of a distance. Now, it's not like you take a scale or a protractor and measure it, but still, you will be able to see it definitely moved a little bit more than the first time you did it. Now, it was your own hand, it was your own mind, but just the way you talked with it has a lot of impact. So again, I was just doing this whole activity so that you get proof like why it is important to have very clear instructions when it comes to like speaking with our minds. All right, so now I hope you all enjoyed that, and I'm gonna now continue. All right. Yes. All right. So this is another story where I was working with a client of mine, and usually when I work with somebody, I have like an intro call. I try to understand like what's their issue and things like that. And this person, like when she signed up for the call, she had she chose all the possible challenges, and like when in the question, okay, what is your objective? What do you want at the end of the session? She had written like, I want inner happiness. Okay, what does that even really mean? What does it mean to vibrate at the frequency of the universe? That's really woo-woo and that's really fuzzy, right? So then, I kept talking with her. I tried to understand, like what does happiness mean to this particular person? And then, like it became very clear and evident, like she was used to getting very harsh criticism from people, and her she used to get very impacted and affected by the people. So it became very clear that like all she wanted to do is be immune to negative criticism. We should always let in positive feedback, but there is a time and a place for it. So then, that's what, she really wanted. So, like By spending time, by digging deeper, we got much more clarity on the goal that she wanted. And then, we were able to help her, to achieve that goal. So that's the thing. So just to sum up, the second principle is about setting very clear, specific goals so that it excites your subconscious mind as well as gives you a clear sense of direction as to where you're heading. Right. Cool. So now we are almost towards the end. So this is the third principle. So how to bounce back from rejections like a pro and become a cheerleader. Now, imagine your favorite sports person, like maybe a cricketer. If it's a batsman, then do they hit a sixer in every ball? Do they become the man of the match in every game? No, absolutely not. It's not possible at all for anyone to be perfect in every single attempt. That doesn't mean the person didn't try hard enough, or they should just go and suffer. We Anytime we have a goal, we are bound to face some setbacks, but it's up to us to reframe those setbacks and become our own cheerleaders. What do cheerleaders do? Like, even if the team is going to lose till the very end, they keep motivating for you. They keep doing those things with the pom poms and things like that. Now, this, dealing with setbacks is not something which happens just to those who are starting out, and rich people don't have to deal with it. Rich people deal with more setbacks than the rest of us, right? Like, you might all have heard about the Tata Nano car, right? The 1 lakh rupee car. This was a phenomenal thing because nobody had ever delivered a car at this price point in the Indian car market. But when they started, manufacturing the car, initially the manufacturing plant was in West Bengal, and there was a lot of issues which was happening, which were politically driven and things like that, because of which the production was halted. And the deadline for the car was coming up, and the Tatas are known for keeping their word, and trust is their whole this thing brand identity, right? So then what they did is they shifted the entire manufacturing facility to Gujarat, and they started doing it, and they still managed to deliver on time and at the same price point, despite of incurring many challenges and I'm sure financial liabilities as well. So the thing is, like, how do you, cultivate this attitude of coming back from challenges and not just get bogged down by every little thing which comes up in life? So we have all heard these statements, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The best revenge is a life well lived. So now, when we talk about coming back from challenges, we are not talking about something like, turn that frown upside down or just, smile through your difficulties. That is toxic positivity. We are not talking about something at all like that. We need to take the time to feel our feelings and our emotions before we go about changing it. Even today, what we did is at the starting, we first identified the limiting beliefs which we have about money, and only then we went about changing it. So we need, and healing is a journey. It is not a destination. So certain times it will take time. So, we need to give ourselves the time, the space, and be gentle with ourselves when we go about changing anything. So, and yes, and I'm swearing this is the last story which I'm going to, share today. So, like this, like I had at the start of the session, I had mentioned how, I had switched my domain from developer to design, and there was like a lot of setbacks and things. There was a point where I was getting two rejections per day, two rejection emails per day. It was like a huge blow to my self confidence, as well as, I started having second thoughts. Oh my God, is this the right decision for me? And the worst thing is, like while I wanted to move to design, I was so overworked. I, like had a tremendous health issue and I was like bedridden for 3 months. And after that only I started applying for jobs. And then all these rejections started coming up. But then, like I had a choice then. I could either blame the system, I could blame people, or I could see what is within my scope of control and try to do about it. So I said, okay, I can't control if I'll get a job or not, but let me see what's happening and let me say, try something. So for every week, I had a theme and I tried something. And if it worked, I would double down on it. So the first week, what I did is like, I updated my resume. Because I was from a developer background, I had a bunch of things which was irrelevant to being a designer. And people really didn't care about all of those things. So I deleted 80% of that and I only talked about the ones which were relevant, which was necessary, and that worked. So I got more calls, so I doubled down. The next thing is I, redid my entire portfolio. I realized that hiring managers spend only 10 seconds. 10 seconds to decide whether or not to spend another 10 seconds or reject the candidate. And I myself have been a hiring manager and I've done it because, like, we don't have time. It's not that they are trying to be mean or anything, but after a point of time with experience, you will realize whether or not the candidate is good, but also you are short on time. So then, like I redid it in a way so that, like the most important things that they were looking for were on the top. It worked. So again, I doubled down. I realized, with bigger companies, it was very difficult for me to, like get a call because they wanted people from, like a design college, design degree, and things like that, which I obviously don't have. So I stopped applying to big companies. I applied only to startups and design agencies. It worked. It doubled down. Fast forward, like I got a call. I, like cleared the interviews at a design agency, and finally the HR called me saying, "Hey, Sridhar, congrats! Like, I know we want to, like offer a role for a designer role at our company." I was like very, happy because I had applied for a senior designer role. My logic was, okay, if you're going to reject me, at least reject for a senior role and not for a junior role. But somehow I seem to have, cleared my interviews and I was in the final round of the HR negotiation. But what the HR said was much more confusing for me. He said, we want to offer the lead designer role. First, my thought was, maybe he dialed the wrong person. So I asked him, can you please check? He said, no, no, Sridhar, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the right person only. And, the what had happened is while I did not have sufficient design experience, I had worked in other companies and I've, been like in a tech lead kind of a role. So the founders felt I could grow into the role. But I was so unsure about myself, and I told the HR, like, I will accept the role only if it is for a senior designer designation. And he must have thought I was crazy, but he still, like changed the designation and he offered the role. And, I took it up. And like I started working, I really enjoyed the work. There was a lot of learning and exponential growth and things like that. But the weird thing which happened is within 1 month, I was doing all the things which a lead was supposed to do. I was doing client management. I was helping the new members on the team. I was learning and upskilling. Sure, I did not have all the skills, the technical skills that were necessary to be called a lead, but still there were certain responsibilities which I was already doing. So then again, I went back to the HR and said, hey, how about you change the designation again? Because I'm anyway doing the role. He must have thought I was crazy, but he still, thankfully did it for me. Even though there was no change in the monetary compensation or anything, but just for me to accept that I'm worthy of that role, wasn't there because I had received so much of rejections. My mindset had shifted. Oh my God, maybe if I get a bigger role, I'll fail. I can't, do it and things like that. So I had to learn from my own experiences of, like, okay, maybe I am capable of it. So other people, I could not have fooled all these people in a row, right? So many people are believing in me. So the moral of the story is when Lady Luck gives you this thing, a golden opportunity, don't question it, just take it. So yeah, that's the small story. So again, this was again me working with a client, he was working as a engineer or a developer in a startup, and he liked the work and he had been working with the company for quite some time. But then the issue is like he felt, like very not confident in setting boundaries at work, not being assertive in talking up to his seniors, when too much of work was getting pushed to him and things like that. So again, during the session, like when we went back and we saw like what had happened is like, when he was young, there were certain scenes where, he was playing with his cousins and where his cousins were being treated as being much more smarter. In fact, by his own parents were, treating his cousins better than they treated him. And people, his relatives used to make him feel less than because they didn't have enough money. So all of these things had impacted his childhood, how he views his world and, how he looks at money and how he looks at everything. So then we worked on it, and within 3 to 4 weeks, he started seeing those changes where he first started believing in himself. Yes, I am worthy of this. I've survived in this company for 3 years because I'm doing something right. And then, he started becoming more assertive in meetings and in, speaking with people and things like that. Again, it doesn't happen overnight, but 3 to 4 weeks for a long-standing issue is a really good thing to work on. All right. So now a quick recap of everything that we have seen so far. These are the three principles. The first principle is identifying your old limiting beliefs about money and then changing them. The second one is setting smart money goals so that you can go after it, so that you can excite your subconscious mind and go after it with a laser-like focus. And third is bouncing back from rejections and becoming your own inner cheerleader. That's the most important thing. Like when it comes to, like having any success or wealth in life. All right. So how are you all feeling right now? Was it overwhelming or was it exciting? You can unmute and feel free to share. Yes, I'm done with the content. Now open to questions. Questions, feedback, thoughts, suggestions. Oh, thanks, Ashwin. If anybody wants to just unmute and chat, also all right, thanks, Manjunath, no questions. Yeah, putting into perspective is key. I've created like a one-pager handout thing. I'll share it with you all and, so that you can practice it on your own because due to the time constraints, I went through certain things in a fast manner. How about others? Any questions? Any feedback for me? How can I make this better? Sure. Welcome, Manjunath. Yeah. All right. So, talking about RTT, so the thing is like, so usually within 3 to 4 weeks, my clients start seeing the changes. So, can I talk a little bit about how RTT works if you all are interested and have the time? Yes, okay, thank you. So, the way in which RTT works is, Cassandra. So, like I do like a session with the clients, which the first session is, like pretty intensive. It is like usually 2.5 to 3 hours, where, in that session, we, like I use hypnotherapy as part of RTT. So, like in hypnosis, the clients are much more relaxed. They're able to access even those memories which are painful, which they have suppressed for a really long time. And also, they become much more suggestible to letting in positive suggestions even about ourselves. Because sometimes it's not the lack of information. We all know what to do to be healthy, but we don't do it because our logical mind and emotional mind is just fighting with one another. So in an RTT session, what we do is like, we take the client back to, like what are some of the scenes where they have picked up this, okay, maybe low confidence. Where did it come from? It could be from recent time, maybe a couple of jobs where, the office environment wasn't good. And because of that, or it could be stemming from childhood. It doesn't matter, right? Like, but then the client can see for themselves as to what are these things, how these situations have impacted their belief systems and why are they now acting. So I never make a diagnosis for my client. I let them see for themselves and put the pieces together like a jigsaw puzzle, because it doesn't matter what I believe in. The only thing which matters is what you believe in, right? Like, unless you think something is a problem, it's not a problem. So that's the thing. And then, like, what we once the client themselves realize, oh, okay, this happened because of which I have low confidence, something like that. Then we work in the session, we do something called as a reframe, where we change the meaning. We go back to the scenes and we change the meaning associated with it, because we can't change what has happened, but we can always, change the meaning which we associate with it. And then towards the end of the session, I create something called as a transformation recording, which is like about 15 minutes of audio, which I ask my clients to listen to twice every single day. See, the thing is, in the session itself, you have figured out you have figured out everything, right? Like 60% of, say, your healing has started. But then we tend to go back to what is familiar over and over again. Every time we try to pick a new habit, eat healthy, exercise, we tend to keep going back. That's because whatever is familiar, we just tend to go back. That's just how the mind operates. So we need to make these new things as familiar. So listening to this recording, where I put in these specific things which the client requests. Okay, I want to be like this at work. I want to be like this at office or at personal life and things like that. I'll just put that in. And when they keep listening to it regularly, it becomes their new identity. It's no longer something which they're forcing to do. It's like brushing your teeth. It becomes like your second nature itself. So, so that way, like, I do follow up with them, like, like once after 7 to 10 days, once at the end of 3 weeks, to see how they are progressing. And, do they need some help or things like that. And since I mostly work with working professionals and I come from, like a corporate background and everything, so I kind of know a little bit about how the structures work. So I do some bit of coaching also in between, apart from the therapy, to, like, help them deal with the certain situations. So typically, people do see, the changes within 3 to 4 weeks. I end my this thing, like, calls with them only when I know, like, okay, has this worked or not for you? And they say, like, yes, this has worked. Yeah. So I hope that
Thank
kind
you
of
so much.
answers the question, Sandra. Yes. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, Jagdish, yes, do self-improvement books work? Really helps? Yes, I would say yes and no, right? Like, for me also, like, I've been a voracious reader and I read a lot of these books, and some of these books have had a tremendous impact on me. But, at the end of the day, sometimes, we need the little bit of support, that accountability, right? Someone who clarifies what this is and what this isn't, as well as, when we falter, someone who supports us, hey, you can do this. Or when we are not exercising or not doing it properly, hey, you should get up and you should do that exercise. So which is where, working with a mentor or a coach or a therapist will come into help. Self-help improvement, this is good at a logical level, definitely. And if you are already a very driven person, then definitely it will work. Do try it out and you see for yourself, out of a scale of 1 to 10, how much have you moved? And then you make a decision. If you feel you've already made the progress, then there's no need at all. So again, it all comes down to our own self. Do we feel like if we have made progress? If so, then yeah, good for you. Hope that answers, Jagdish. Any other questions? Yeah, welcome. Any other questions for me about today's topic or RTT or whatever in your mind? All right, so I'm gonna assume that everyone understood everything and you all loved my presentation. So I'm just going to take the silence as a yes. Thank you once again, everyone, for like joining today's session. I know, like, Saturday you have given me 1.5 hours of your time, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And like, I do share a lot of things about mental health and especially about work on social media. Like, typically LinkedIn is where I'm pretty active on, and Instagram Instagram also I do post, but LinkedIn is where I'm most active on. Feel free to, like follow me or, just connect with me. Would be happy to hear your thoughts and any other questions that you have, or any other topic that I should be talking about or writing about. So yeah, put the links in the chat window. Feel free to, look them up. And I will, like share that one pager thing, which has like the key highlights thing through meetup.com. There is this email thingy. So I will, put all the links there as well. All right. Thank you, Sandra. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank you, Sridhar. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.